I ever done that was so wrong other than believe in myself?
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today, we're counting down our picks for the top 10 musicians who ended up getting booed by the very people who came to see them perform live. Number 10. Pearl Jam, Riot Act Tour. Making a very public demonstration against the current U.S. president and an ongoing war is always going to split people.
How does he do it? How do they do it uncanny and immutable?
When frontman Eddie Vedder wore a George W. Bush mask on stage during Pearl Jam's performance of their song Bush Leaguer, they were met with a pretty hostile response.
A confidence man, but why so beleaguered? He's not a leader, he's a Texas leaguer.
It was a running theme in their shows during their 2003 tour, and the gimmick would end with Vedder impaling the mask on his mic stand. One particularly bad response in Texas, where Bush was once the governor, led to many people walking out and publicly criticizing the band's stance. Number 9. Blondie, Philadelphia. Let's be real. Blondie and Rush are not two bands that one would draw parallel lines between. Forgive the pun. However, when the prog rock giants were left without a support band during the Philadelphia stop on their 1979 tour, Blondie got the gig on short notice. Unfortunately, their brand of punchy new wave music didn't go over well with Rush's fan base. Some guy even threw a bottle at lead singer Debbie Harry's head, which she immediately threw back. After a few songs had gone by, the band decided it wasn't worth the trouble and made their exit, as Harry cursed out the audience that had rejected them during her goodbye. Number 8. Marilyn Manson, Soundwave. Shock rock icon Marilyn Manson was in a pretty dark place in 2012, even by his standards. Substance use disorder had become an all-too-present part of his touring life. When his band were booked with Slipknot at Melbourne's Soundwave Festival, there was an immediate tension. Simply put, Slipknot's fans were not happy. To make matters worse, Manson came out in a clearly inebriated state and spent large chunks of his set arguing with everyone around him.
So everybody thinks I'm drunk, but I've been sober for what? The past 15 minutes, right?
The very noticeably disheveled singer left the stage with 10 minutes to go, angered by the crowd constantly shouting, "Slipknot!" Manson did return for one final track, but the show overall was a bona fide disaster. Number 7. Creed, Chicago. No conversation about all-time dud concerts would be complete without mentioning Creed's infamous Chicago Allstate Arena show in 2002. The reason this gig was such a disaster? Lead singer Scott Stapp.
Please come now, I think I'm falling, holding on the wall, I think you're safe.
According to those who attended, he was barely capable of keeping steady on his feet. Not to mention that his voice had totally left him on this night. Supposedly, it was clear that something was awry from the moment Stapp stumbled onto the stage. After 3 songs, he was promptly booed off the stage, although he did return 10 minutes later. However, just because he came back, it doesn't mean things improved. Stapp fell over several times, and the band's setlist was unconfidently mumbled through. Number 6. Dokken, Monsters of Rock. The last thing any true heavy metal fan wants to see is some glamorous hair metal band throwing shapes on stage.
Toss and turn all night in the sheets, but I can't sleep.
For Dokken, their music simply wasn't the right fit for the 1988 Monsters of Rock festival, and by their own admission, they were outperformed every single night by headliners Metallica. Not only did they have to deal with their own limitations in contrast to these music giants, but the band's fan base didn't help things either. They let their distaste for Dawkins' music be known at every opportunity. This went on for several dates, and it clearly took its toll on the group. The phrase, tough crowd, doesn't even begin to describe it. Number 5. Kanye West, Wireless Festival. Kanye West is no stranger to an onstage rant.
Man, it's so hard not to act reckless.
However, his 2014 Wireless Festival performance will go down in history as one of his most bizarre. In fact, to call it a performance would be a push. After just a handful of songs, West dove headfirst into a 20-minute rant, touching on a wide array of topics, none of which were part of the expected program.
People be looking at me like I got a problem or something.
Instead of performing his set, the whole thing devolved into West complaining about the media's treatment of him. This showed a total lack of self-awareness. Eventually, the crowd heckling became too much. Kanye left the building, leaving everyone feeling like they got ripped off.
You can't tell me nothing.
Number 4. Nickelback, Festival de Ilha do Urmal. Nickelback catch quite a lot of heat from general music fans, with many people ridiculing their music for being formulaic and the songwriting equivalent of low-hanging fruit.
This is how you remind me of what I really am.
Even their biggest haters have to admit that they take criticism well, though. One legendary night in Portugal in 2002, their genius manager decided to book them for a metal festival. This went about as terribly as can be, and the band were booed off stage.
Have we got any Nickelback fans in Portugal? Are you sure?
Lead singer Chad Kroeger had a pretty hilarious response, though. He blamed their manager, while noting that he wouldn't want to see Nickelback on a metal festival lineup either. Number 3. The Beatles, 1966 U.S. Tour. There were bound to be consequences to making a comment about your band being bigger than the central figures of the world's most dominant religion. Granted, John Lennon was kind of lamenting to the Evening Standard that society was placing him on a higher pedestal than Jesus.
Christianity will go. It will vanish and shrink. I needn't argue about that. I'm right and I'll be proved right. We're more popular than Jesus now. John Lennon quoted in the London Evening Standard, March the 4th.
Of course, backlash in the United States effectively knocked him off of it, and it came just in time for a 1966 North American tour that was met with a rough reception and protests, especially in the Bible Belt. Fruit, debris, flashbulbs, and even a firecracker were thrown at the Beatles, causing widespread panic. The biggest band in the world would never tour again. It's crazy how much of an impact one throwaway comment can have.
You know, they're entitled to not like us, and we're entitled not to have anything to do with them if we don't want to.
Number 2. Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses have a somewhat patchy history with on-stage tantrums, late appearances, and every manner of performance mishap.
Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games.
In 1992, the band managed to kick off a riot when throat issues prompted Axl Rose to abruptly end a show. Sounds a little harsh, right? Well, the other band on the bill, Metallica, ended their set due to a pyrotechnic disaster that sent singer James Hetfield to the hospital.
The pyro guy doesn't see me that I've walked back out there. A big colored flame goes right up under me.
So the crowd were already on edge. However, despite it not being entirely their fault, GNR were left to deal with the repercussions from the fans.
Welcome to the jungle. It's gonna bring you down. Huh.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Bob Dylan. One of the most famous examples of a musician facing backlash came when Bob Dylan decided to shed his folk troubadour image and go fully electric.
Once upon a time, you dressed so fine,
down through the bumps of time in your prime. Then you.
Over the course of that entire 1965 tour, he dealt with all manner of threats and name-calling. However, it was his appearance at the Newport Folk Festival, the site of his earlier coronation as the savior of folk, where it all went pear-shaped. Dylan and his band performed 3 rock and roll songs before abruptly leaving the stage. After the organizers insisted that he go back out, Dylan picked up his acoustic and performed 2 more, facing those who had just booed him. It was nonetheless a legendary moment in music history. What infamous incident of a musician getting booed off stage springs to your mind? Let us know in the comments below.